Welcome to our webinar today, all about personal branding for professionals. We're going to be talking about how to develop your authority and build your platform to accelerate your career and elevate your influence. I'm Mary Czarnecki, your instructor for today. So let's jump into the content. So I'm guessing that you're here watching this webinar because you're interested in pursuing potentially some new opportunities, standing out as an authority in your space, or potentially even advancing your career. If that's the case, congratulations, you're in the right place. But we also have some challenges, right? There are some things that we have to overcome in order to achieve those goals. The big challenge that I see for most professionals is that we can lose out on opportunities if people aren't clear about the value that we bring to the table, if they don't understand truly where our expertise lies and what we can contribute to the effort or the position that we're going after. So just to share a few stats, lay of the land here, 85% of US recruiters and HR professionals say that an employee's online reputation influences their hiring decisions. We know more than ever before, people are looking up those that they're looking to bring into their teams. They're looking up their talent before they bring them into their organizations, invite them to their boards, invite them to be a presenter at their conferences. So that online presence really does play a vital role. In addition, it's not just about your advancement, right? Your career, your opportunities, but it's also about the organizations that we work for. 82% of Americans agree that companies are more influential if their executives have a personal brand that they know and follow. So the idea here is that it's no longer just enough for an organization to have a corporate brand or a product brand, but really those that are building that brand also need to have that authority and that expertise shown through a personal brand. So that personal brand enables you to differentiate yourself and also build trust to open up new opportunities for you, as well as the organization or business that you represent. So if we haven't met before, I'm Mary Czarnecki. I started my career in marketing just over 20 years ago. And now I really focus on helping professionals, entrepreneurs, and business leaders who are today facing a very unique set of challenges to overcome that overwhelm and decide how to move forward for them, for their organizations and their brands. So what I really love doing is helping leaders skip that overwhelm and create strategies. Today, we're talking about personal branding, but creating a strategy that works for them and specifically gets them to their goals. So in addition to being a speaker and presenter, I also am a boy mom, dog mom, and live out here in Oregon wine country. So anytime you want to talk about wine, happy to do that as well. All right, so here's the thing. Most experts are relatively unknown outside of their own personal circle, their own individual circle of influence, so to speak. And too many experienced professionals that are experts in their spaces have so much to offer the world, but that impact is limited because they're distracted, unclear, or just overwhelmed, right? We're so busy in the business of our day-to-day that sometimes thinking about creating a personal brand just seems like one more thing to do. So that's why I work with individuals and experts and leaders to develop this personal brand, to raise that public profile and go beyond just personal reputation to expand that reputation and influence. So why do individuals get stuck, right? They can't clearly articulate who they are. Maybe they're unclear about who they even want to know who they are, right? Who do they want to be known by? Or maybe they're unsure about how they want to serve that audience. What can I really provide them? Why would they even listen to me? Or they don't see a connection to creating revenue for their business or their team, or they don't understand how this could help them reach the next goal in their professional career. If that's the case, one thing I want to leave you with is this thought. People need to know you before they can trust you. So the thing is, you already have a personal brand, whether you know it or not. A personal brand is really an extension of this reputation. It's how people start to get to know you. And the more people that know you, the more people can trust you and open up those opportunities. So there are huge risks in letting your reputation and personal brand develop without direction, without intention. So that's why I developed the Become Fireproof framework. It has 4 parts to it. And today I want to help you take just the first steps, looking at just 2 of the parts of this framework to develop an intentional personal brand that actually reflects your true self and deliberately attracts the attention and opportunities that matter most to you. So today we're going to dig into just brand and value. the two parts that I think are a great jumping off point here to the Become Fireproof framework. So when we start talking about the brand, this is the foundation, right? So much marketing out there, so many brands out there are splashy and fancy, but we want to make sure that they're built on a solid foundation. So this is all about creating that intentional foundation for your personal brand, grounded in what makes you truly unique and what's meaningful to you, so that you can actually get to where you want to go, not just where fate's going to send you. So here's the thing, your brand and the brand of your organization or business are not the same thing. So when you look at Richard Branson or Virgin or Sarah Blakely or Spanx, yes, they're growing the large corporate brands. They're representing those brands, but the individual also has nurtured and intentionally created a personal brand. Why? Because even if Sarah Blakely decides to move on from Spanx, start a new initiative, build another business, her brand comes with her. So when you leave an organization, when you decide to go after a new initiative, pursue a new opportunity, that personal brand can come with you. It can support you no matter where you are. And that's the thing that can stay with you time and time again, no matter what new opportunities you pursue. So let's look at another example here. Mindy Kalings, might be familiar with her. She's a writer, she's an actor, she's a producer. So many of us have been probably in stitches over her comedy. But she's also developed a very intentional personal brand. Why? Because no matter what execution or production or show she becomes part of, she can stay consistent in this personal brand, what she stands for, right? Her personal brand is very multifaceted. It's not just about being a writer or an actor, but she brings forward other values that she has. She brings forward the fact that she, doesn't want to just fit into societal norms. She wants to showcase the fact that she's a feminist, that she's interested in these issues, these cultural movements that matter to her. So another way to look at this is, well, Mary, does this actually apply to me? So the big myth I hear from a lot of leaders and professionals and executives is that, I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm not a famous celebrity. I don't really need a personal brand, right? Well, the reality is that anyone seeking to advance your business, your organization, or your career can benefit from this personal brand. What is it going to do for you? It's going to showcase your authority. It's going to open up new opportunities, and it's going to build stronger relationships. And again, people need to know you in order to trust you, to open up those opportunities and make those connections. So let's look at not a celebrity example, but some more professional examples. These are examples that I pulled straight from LinkedIn. So Robin here, the CMO at Matterport, has a great example here in his profile of a strong personal brand, being clear on what his personal brand stands for. He's developed this very enthusiastic, very energetic personal brand and focuses on themes around growth and positivity. So he shares that he wants his teams to feel great and feel energized when working with him. And that comes through in the way he describes himself here in his profile and in his about section. In addition here, Leela, the CMO of Checkout.com, she also has a very clear personal brand coming through in her statement. It focuses on the personal as well as the professional, and she brings forward those personality traits that makes her unique, and so that when people are looking her up, considering her to become a speaker, or even thinking about joining her team, they understand what she's like, what she stands for, and what her motivations are, and really understand what her leadership style is, which is very inclusive and aspirational. So you can't get there without having clarity first. So your brand has to start with you. We can't start putting up fancy websites or starting podcasts or creating any of these things without the clarity of, well, what am I actually truly representing? So when we're developing a personal brand that truly represents you and uniquely you, we need to ask some questions to start. What are you trying to achieve? How do you want people to perceive you? And what do you want people to associate with your personal brand? There's no point in creating a personal brand that is going to feel like a heavy mask that you have to carry around. You want to create this with intention so that it expands your reputation and gets you closer to those new opportunities that you desire. So In the workbook that we're going to be providing you as part of this webinar, we have a personal brand activator worksheet in there that's going to help you answer some of these key questions, these key foundational questions that will ensure that as you're building your personal brand, you're building it with intention. We're not just leaving this up to chance, leaving this up to fate, but we're taking control of what people are going to associate with us and what our personal brands are going to stand for. So the second part of the Become Fireproof framework that I wanted to share with you today was the value section. So the value step is really all about breaking down this myth that you need to be a super expert or a celebrity or best-selling author to create a personal brand. And that is so not true. The reality is that you probably know way more than you think you do. And there are tons of people out there just waiting, just wanting what you have to offer, your expertise, your knowledge, your skills. So we want to start with what you know and continue to share as you develop your expertise. Whether you're 2 years, 20 years into your career, doesn't matter. We can always continue to add to that portfolio. So sharing valuable content, this value step here, is key to developing a strong personal brand, because it's not just all about knowing, well, who we are, but what are we offering people? People want to know what you're going to be bringing into their lives or their businesses. So the first step here is going to be, well, what is that expertise? Getting clarity on what it is that I am going to be known for. What are people going to think when they hear my name? What is the first 1 or 2 things that we want them to think about? What am I going to be the expert in? Now, quick tip around this. This does not have to be something you are known for now. The powerful thing about developing a personal brand with intention is you get to decide what this is. What experiences, skills are you going to bring into building your area of expertise? Again, it doesn't have to be something you're known as the expert in now, but this is what you want to be seen as the expert in. So getting clarity on what you want to be known for, what do we want to intentionally craft this personal brand to represent? Number 2 is going to be, well, what am I going to actually share value about? What am I going to be creating content about, talking about, learning about, making an effort to continue to sharpen my own skills around? So we want to develop those topics, those list of related things that you are going to be speaking about, sharing about, and focused on. If you're thinking about becoming a speaker, this could be the thing that becomes the foundation for your keynotes. What are we going to be talking about? If you're thinking about writing a book, those are the things that we're going to be deciding to write that book about. It's not just what you're good at now, but where you potentially could want to go next. And then last but not least is bringing those 2 together. So what do I want to be known for? What is it that I'm going to be able to share, that I'm going to be able to create content, add value about, and bring that together so that we create this overlap so we can actually create content that people can react to, that people can engage with, and that expands your impact and influence. So people, like I said, are looking for someone that can solve their problems. Getting clarity and that foundation on what your brand should stand for and what we mean, what we will be known for, is the foundation. But then we need to add value, right? We need to actually bring something to the lives of our audience, those that are following us, those that we want to be known to. We want to be very clear about how we're going to solve their problems. What value are we going to be bringing to their lives? So we want to make sure that as we're developing this personal brand, we want to position it as the guide in the story, not the hero. So as we're telling these stories, as we're sharing content, as we're developing new thought leadership, we want to be seen and position ourselves intentionally as the guide, not someone who is necessarily going through the transition like the hero in a story, but someone who's been down the path. We've walked the path, we've gone through the journey, and now what we're doing is based on that experience, sharing our process, and we're inviting that audience into that story so that you can show them the path that you've walked, the journey that you've taken, so they can learn from it and gather value from it. So when we position ourselves with intention as this personal brand that is a guide, we need to make sure that we're bringing forward in anything that we're creating, whether it's a keynote, a book, a LinkedIn post, 2 key elements, which are going to be empathy and authority. So what do we mean by empathy and authority? Empathy is the ability to make people feel like we understand them, that there's some connection, that we're not just so far down that path that we've forgotten what it's like in their current reality and their current experience. So we need to develop some kind of relationship there. Now, the authority element, though, is the one where we then need to showcase the fact that, well, we're not still in the before picture, right? We have walked that journey. We are further down that path. And therefore, we have that expertise that we are now bringing to bear. We are now going to be sharing and providing value to you. So in the workbook that we're going to be providing to you, I encourage you to fill out the authority topics worksheet, because this helps you brainstorm that authority as well as that empathy. So when you're thinking about the empathy, how could you fill out the phrase, I totally understand the feeling of when, or I recall the experience when I had XYZ. So think about that before picture that you experienced, create that connection so that that audience can understand that you've walked the path, that you remember what it's like to be in their shoes, but then also bring forward that authority. What skills, experience, roles have you fulfilled that actually bring that authority? So this worksheet is going to help you put all of that into a framework and clarify so that you can tell your story with both empathy and authority. So let's wrap up our time together today with a little application and activation. So we mentioned this at the beginning, but it's worth repeating. We can lose out on opportunities if we aren't clear about the value that we offer. If people don't understand what we are known for, what we can bring to the table, they aren't going to be able to offer us the kind of opportunities that we desire. So by creating a personal brand with intention, we're building our authority, we're elevating our influence, and positioning ourselves for new opportunities and having a greater impact in our world. So my goal today has been to help you just take a few small steps forward in developing your personal brand with intention. But of course, the only way to see results is to execute. So I invite you to take the small steps, the worksheets that we gave you today, fill those out, and take those first small steps forward in building a powerful, intentional personal brand. Where could you go next? Some things that you might want to think about are clarifying that brand story. So as you're bringing it to life, as you're starting to build your platform, how do we want to tell the story? What story are you going to be inviting your audience into? Maybe it's about speaking or presenting, being able to showcase that personal brand, representing your organization at an industry conference. Or maybe it's building an authority platform. Maybe you do have the wish to write a book or become a speaker or start a podcast so you can expand your connections, your network, and your influence. Those are all great opportunities to continue to elevate that influence and expand that personal brand. So in any direction you go, just remember you've got support. We've got a whole slew of opportunities here at the ANA for continuing education, both live and on demand, and would love to continue the conversation with you as well. Hope you enjoyed our webinar today, and good luck.